Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this fine Friday morning. My name is Pastor B.T. Lewis, Rising Star Missionary Baptist Church, right here in Southwest Fresno. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Dr. Venise Curry of Concerned Citizens of West Fresno, Veva, Islas, Cultiva, Salud, Miss Ivanka Saunders, Leadership Counsel for Justice and Accountability, Mr. Bob Mitchell, Golden West Side Planning Committee, and Mrs. Mary Curry, Concerned Citizens of West Fresno. Before several of us go across Elm Street, which is right behind us, to participate in a tour of the Mid-Valley facility, we are standing here today in front of a health clinic against a backdrop regularly traveled by diesel semis and garbage trucks to affirm our position our opposition to Plan Amendment Application Number P20-01665, which seeks to rezone 92.5 acres of commercial mixed-use land to light industrial. This proposed Elm Avenue rezone is currently scheduled to go before the City Planning Commission on April 7th of next month. This plan amendment does not comply with the intent and vision of the Southwest Pacific Plan, a plan fully developed and vigorously vetted through a broadly inclusive community process and approved by city officials and city administration. The approval of this application would discredit and harm the work of so many community stakeholders and change the direction of development in Southwest Fresno and be a blatant disregard for the desires of actual community members. This planned amendment is not consistent with the general plan goals and policy, and the amendment to the program environmental impact report is inadequate. So we all desire new, vibrant, prosperous development in our city. When we consider expanding industry in our city, let's consider the whole of our city and not limit our conversation to adding more industrial in Southwest Fresno, an area that continues to suffer from decades of unfair planning practices. We want development in Southwest Fresno that will restore life and vitality to our community and not perpetuate a narrative where our life expectancy is significantly less than people who live and work in other parts of our great city. This is not just about West Fresno. From the bluffs of the north to the inequities of the south, this is about an entire city. We need our city to learn to do good for all of her residents. We need our city to seek social and environmental justice for every neighborhood. We need our city to stand and rebuke oppressive systems and policies that hinder equity in our city. And then we need our city to hear the voices of the voiceless and to defend those that are defenseless. It's not enough to sloganize one Fresno. We must be one Fresno. It's not enough to sloganize one Fresno. We must be one Fresno. Thank you very much. And remember that we are planning to attend, and we want everyone who hears this to join us. The Planning Commission meeting currently scheduled for 6 o'clock on April 7th, where our Planning Commission will consider this agenda item. And we want everyone in our city to join us in standing in opposition to this application.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Venise Curry. I am a resident of West Fresno. I'd like to present some issues and some stats for your hearing pleasure. The maternal child numbers for Fresno County, and specifically for West Fresno and for its Black residents. In 2015, the preterm birth rate was 14.2. 2016, 13.0. 2017, 13.2. 2018, 13.3. 2019, 15.2. Preterm birth is one of the leading causes of infant mortality, and the fact that in Fresno County and in its Black population the rate is 15.2, that means that roughly for every 1,000 births there are 15.2 that are born premature. Preterm birth is a killer. Why does that affect us so dramatically? Well, I ask you to look around you. What do you see? Industrial sites on every corner. It is no surprise that exposure over the life course will impact your health, your ability to breathe, your preconception health, and all of those stages that follow from birth to death. The fact that we are dying at a rate higher during this COVID pandemic is no surprise, given that our numbers of high blood pressure are elevated, our numbers for diabetes, for asthma, for chronic breathing disorders are all elevated. Even as we stand here in this census tract, we are all exposed to greater pollutants, PM 2.5, noxious gases. All of that is all around us. It is no surprise that our health suffers, and so it is with a health lens that I come in opposition to any changes that would add industrial zoning to a place with a clinic committed to health, with a school committed to educating students, with senior housing committed to providing safe places for people who are older to live. And yet our city would ask us to please allow more industrial in this site. Why? For us to shorten our lifespan? For us to be impacted by diabetes and high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease at higher rates than any place in the city? No. No, absolutely not. We will not contribute to our own demise. We will not support policies and procedures and practices that limit our ability to live and breathe and work and enjoy the fruits of our labor. We will not. And so we come before you with a boatload of statistics, but you all have access to them. They're in the public health department. They're on the websites. They're at the COVID dashboard, which shows you that the higher rate of people who are dying and passing away from COVID are Black and brown people who live in this community, up and down the streets, across the street, around the corner. We are impacted in a much higher rate, and it is no surprise. It is no surprise. And so, as many stats as there are, it's more important to say that we are here fighting for life, and we will continue to do so. And for all those who say they are pro-life, here's an opportunity to step into a space and say that you too are pro-life. Thank you.
I want to begin by saying that I am here in solidarity with the community, and I really want to lift up and give a fine point to the public health comments that Dr. Curry just left you with. To me, it is a great grievance that we engage and invite community members into planning processes. We ask of their time, their talent, their expertise as experts living in these neighborhoods, and then we dismiss the plans that they generate. That is a grievance, and we should not allow that to happen. It has happened too often in the history of this community and in the history of this valley. I want to turn to the fact that we're living through a pandemic. And as Dr. Curry mentioned, the impact on Black and brown communities is painful. It is trauma. It is the legacy of a lack of investment in Black and brown communities. We are here west of Highway 99, where there are limited access to healthy foods for people to practice healthy diets. We are here west of the 99, where there are less park space, there are less bike lanes, there are less sidewalks for for people to exercise and be physically active every day. Those limitations are the whys, the reasons for not investing in promoting good health, right? We need to be concerned about people having access to healthy food and having safe places to be physically active. And when we don't, we continue to see the perpetuation of chronic disease. As of 2010, half of all Latino and African American children are predicted to develop diabetes in their lifetime. Let me repeat that. That's half of all Black and brown children born as of 2010 are predicted to develop diabetes. Why? Because we are not investing in the communities where they live. We are not investing in prevention and good health. So I would just say that we need to learn from those mistakes. If we want our communities to fare better through the next crisis, the next pandemic, it is important for us to address prevention. And prevention means investment in resources and assets that promote good health. So I respectfully ask that we do not allow these requested changes to happen. I respectfully ask that we honor the wishes of this community and the time that they have spent in developing their plan. And I demand that we pay attention to and invest into the health of Black and brown communities.
My name is Ivanka Saunders. I am a policy advocate with Leadership Counsel for Justice and Accountability. Community residents have made it clear that they do not want increased industrial uses in their community. We are currently standing in the community of Southwest Fresno, where historically the city's land use decisions have been built on racially motivated and environmental injustices that impact communities of color. These decisions have been so horrific for so long that Southwest Fresno was competitively selected among all overly burdened communities in the whole state of California. They have been selected by the state of California for 2 grant programs. The first one called Transformative Climate Communities by the Strategic Growth Council. And the second one, Assembly Bill 617 Community Air Protection Program by the California Air Resources Board. Millions of dollars are being invested in this community by the state to attempt to correct this city's poor land use decisions. But the city wants to continually dump on residential neighborhoods. The city refuses to learn from their mistakes and make the necessary changes. Instead, they want to revert back to light industrial zoning across the street behind me, in front of a medical clinic, new homes less than 1,100, 1,500 feet away, senior living apartments, and 2 schools. The city and the community have made strides creating the Southwest Specific Plan to evolve back into a healthy community. It is time for the city of Fresno to stand by and implement the Southwest Fresno Specific Plan as it was created and voted on by the City Council in 2018. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Bob Mitchell of the Golden West Side Planning Committee, and I am going to briefly give a little historical aspect to this also. The fact that the specific plan was developed after 2 years of intensive work by members of our community in conjunction with consultants hired by the city and members of the city's planning department, following all rules, policies, and best practices to come to the resolve that we as a community desire to have in our area. This was a plan that was well known throughout our community vis-a-vis media, numerous meetings, etc. And to hear that there are those who are trying to rezone what we have worked so hard for, that they had no knowledge of this plan, is quite, to me, ingenuous. The location of all of the businesses that are in the 92 acres were allowed to continue all of the work that they are presently doing and previously to the rezone that we did to commercial and mixed use. Those businesses were not asked to leave. Those businesses were allowed to continue to operate in the manner that they had prior to the specific plan. In short, they can continue every operation they have had until they themselves desire to leave our community. We have not fought to cause any jobs to be lost in our community. We have not fought to ask the businesses to leave our community. We have said through the specific plan, continue what you're doing. We're not opposed to you doing what you were doing prior to the rezone, but we do not wish you to expand and bring more harm to us in our area. So those are facts that I think are not clearly understood. The businesses are not going to have to leave. They can continue to operate as they presently do. We understand that one of the businesses is going to start utilizing electric trucks. We really appreciate that act. But I will state also that that is a mandate by the state of California to come into reality. Businesses are going to have to begin using electric trucks. So we don't see that as somebody saying we're going to change something for you. That is just part of what's going to occur in our future for every business. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about this.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. My name is Mary Curry, and I represent concerned citizens of West Fresno. The Southwest Specific Plan marks a historic milestone for Southwest Fresno community. The plan provides guiding principles, policies, development criteria, and implementation strategies that were developed by residents, stakeholders, to coordinate private development and public improvements, given the unique opportunities and characteristics of this important part of the community. And I want to just pause here and say one of the reasons that we find ourselves in this position is because years ago in the redlining, where we were all moved out to one area, so we got stuck in the area where they dump on all the historic developments, the industrial sites. So that's why this particular area is highly concentrated with the undesirable development, because the city did this to us. We had a community, 21 community members and stakeholders worked and planned the Southwest Fresno Specific Plan for 2 years. There were 16 steering committee meetings, 6 workshops, 3 community conversations, and plans were approved by the Planning Commission and the City of Fresno. We're here to say to the City of Fresno, honor your commitment. We are not going to run, we are not going to move. You are going to have to step up and do the right thing by all of Fresno residents. It's not right to expect that our children will miss school because of asthma, respiratory problems, and shorter lifespans than anyone else. We simply will not have it any longer, and we're asking the Planning Commission and the City of Fresno to step up and do the honorable thing. While the state of California is trying to help us, our own city, it's like living in a household where you don't have anybody supporting you. We're in our home, and the City of Fresno is disowning us, and the state of California is trying to own us. So we expect that the city will step forth and do their job. We have a number of children who miss school. We have children who are ill with respiratory problems, and all the things that have been mentioned before I came to the mic are there. And we expect the city to step up and do the right thing. We are not willing to tolerate this any longer. Thank you.
So that will conclude our press conference for today. We want to remind you that we are anxiously looking forward to an opportunity to stand before or be on Zoom before the Planning Commission on April 7th at 6 p.m. Please check their website, look for any registration responsibilities that you have to do before the meeting, because we want all of our community to join us in opposition of this application. God bless you and have a great day.